Morant with a running start. Elevate! Oh, it dunks! Oh, my goodness!
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heat. It's gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now a three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant! Oh, he hit it! John Morant, insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. Grizzlies win edition! My name is Keith Parrish. We have a winning streak. The Grizzlies won their second straight home game by defeating the Milwaukee Bucks in their final game before the All-Star break. They were huge underdogs, like 12-point underdogs. The Bucks, there was some thought beforehand they might rest Giannis. He was questionable. No. They played Giannis. They played Dame Lillard. Brook Lopez was available for the Grizzlies. No Jaren Jackson Jr., no Luke Kennard, no John Conchar. Those are the regular players who have been playing. Everybody else, of course, not available. No Ja, no Desmond, no Marcus. And it didn't matter. The Grizzlies hung on for a 113-110 victory. On this episode, I'm going to talk about that victory. I'm going to talk about TNT Jackson and the rest of the gang. Before I do, just a reminder, if you want to support the creation of this show and get exclusive bonus content and join the listener Slack channel, you can do all of that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Come join the smart community of NBA fans who hang out over there. You can talk about whatever you want to. Of course, you can join the Grits and Grinds only Slack chat and talk about the Grizzlies around the clock with me and with other Grizzlies fans. Anyway, support the show. Join up with the community, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. The heroes for the Grizzlies of this shorthanded victory. Yes, G.G. Jackson, who tied his career high with 27 points. But I think maybe the main storyline is Ziaire Williams having the game of his life. Easily the best performance of Ziaire Williams' career. So you had arguably a career game from G.G. Jackson. You had the career best game for Ziaire Williams. Vince Williams Jr., oh, by the way, had 18 points, a career high, 12 rebounds. He had 8 assists. I mean, that's one of the best games Vince Williams Jr. maybe has ever played. I don't know how you actually judge these things. He's had so many amazing ones. Like if you use Basketball Reference's game score, this was the third highest game score that Vince Williams Jr. has ever posted. Easily the highest game score that Ziaire Williams has posted. Then you had Jordan Goodwin starting the game, doing some stuff. Santi Aldama, he got involved with the career high numbers with a career high 7 assists. And you package that all together, and the Grizzlies had enough to overcome Giannis, who made 88% of his field goal attempts. Giannis had 35 points and 12 assists. No one could stop him. And it didn't matter. The Grizzlies win. The Grizzlies used a 37-point third quarter powered by Ziaire. Ziaire had 17 points in the third quarter, the highest scoring quarter of his career. That helped them build this 9-point lead or so. And then in the fourth quarter, it wasn't comfortable because the Bucks erased the lead, and it wasn't until G.G. Jackson made a clutch corner three-pointer to give the Grizzlies the lead again after they traded the lead a couple times with the Bucks, where I was like, oh, wait, I think we can win this. For whatever reason, this whole game, I was like, we're going to get dominated in the fourth quarter. But the Grizzlies built the lead, hung on that big G.G. Jackson shot, assisted by Santi, and then came the amazing alley-oop pass from Santi, where it looked like that was honestly a game-winning moment, but unfortunately, Lamar Stevens missed a couple of free throws, Malik Beasley made back-to-back threes, and the Bucks actually had a chance, of course, to tie the game on the final possession, but There was a knockaway, and they did not get a clean look. Damian Lillard's desperation attempt came up short, and the Grizzlies get the win. On that final play, part of it was, I mean, the Bucks said, Damian Lillard said he and Brook Lopez had a miscommunication, but like Ziaire Williams was there to help break that play up. Ziaire knocks the ball away. Lamar Stevens gets on the ground. It becomes this scramble play, and it was Zaire's plays like that that also largely contributed to the win. Yes, every Grizzlies podcast, every NBA outlet is going to talk about, Ziaire scoring 27 points. Of course, that is a career high. He tied his career high with 3 steals. He tied his career high with 4 made threes. All those things are important, and I hope this show is the only one telling you that Ziaire Williams had 7 deflections in this game. That's an outrageous number for Ziaire Williams. I don't actually know if it's his career high. I don't know how to look that up without going through a very painstakingly long process. But like, Ziaire got over 10% of his deflections for the entire season in this game. Last year, Ziaire played in 37 games, played 561 minutes, and he had 30 deflections. He has 69 deflections this season. 7 of them came against the Bucks. So he's helping you on the defensive end to go with that incredible offensive game where he's making his 3-pointers and he's scoring at multiple levels and honestly looking like preseason Ziaire. Summer League, not even Summer League Ziaire. We never saw this good in Summer League. So Ziaire has this amazing game. And then GG Jackson, who on his previous appearance on TNT on MLK Day, he had 23 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks against the Warriors and got to do the adorable walk-off interview with Shaq. In this game, he steps it up a notch, matches that career high with 27 points, hits 6 out of 10 3-pointers. Gigi, now in his last 5 games, he's averaging 21.2 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 1.4 blocks per game. He's 18 of 36 on 3-pointers in the last 5 games. In all 5 of those games, he's shot 50% or better on his field goal attempts. There are only 4 teenagers in NBA history to have 5 straight games where they score 16 or more points and shoot 50% or better on their field goal attempts. Zion Williamson, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and GG Jackson. Just an outrageously good game from GG Jackson. And I mean, I know in these super shorthanded games, a lot of times you want to tell people, hey, calm down. Someone has to score. That's why you have like Zaire's previous career high where he had 24 points and 9 assists against the Thunder last year in the Junior Lofton game, the last game of the regular season. It's like, yeah, I mean, 24 points and 9 assists, but like somebody had to score. We lost by a lot. The game is meaningless. This game, certainly someone still has to score, but doing it against one of the better teams in the East, even if maybe they are sort of mentally checked out for the All-Star break, it's much more meaningful. And the fact that GG has put these performances back to back to back to back is incredibly special. And certainly the silver lining of this season has been that, oh my goodness, we found GG Jackson. Oh my goodness, we found Vince Williams Jr. And then oh my goodness, we're going to get a really good draft pick. I know a lot of people also, now that GG Jackson has made this big, leap recently, unfortunately he was left out of the Rising Stars game because he wasn't playing enough. I mean, it's not the league's fault that GG Jackson wasn't playing. There's no reason GG Jackson should have been selected to the Rising Stars game. But now that he's put together this very impressive run of games, I think as fans, we start thinking about oh, how do we get GG as first team all rookie? I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be extremely hard. Just looking at the rookies this year in the NBA, there are some incredible ones. I mean, of course, Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, those are 2 of the better rookie seasons you will ever see. So those guys, you're never catching them. Those guys are amazing. I mean, honestly, we should hope that GG just ends up, I don't know, 60% as good as those guys are or something. I don't know how to exactly quantify that. But like, all right, first team all rookie, it's Victor, it's Chet, and then it's Brandon Miller. Like those three guys are going to be unanimous. Those guys don't need to play probably another game this season, and they'll still make the all-rookie first team. Beyond that, it's still like a huge uphill climb. Like Jaime Jaquez was amazing the first 30 games of the year, playing a lot of minutes for the Heat. He's kind of hit the rookie wall, but like he's had a great year. Brandon Podziemski, the Warriors just benched Klay Thompson for Brandon Podziemski. So like you're probably not catching him. So, like, I honestly think maybe as fans, and this is just, it's sort of meaningless, but, like, we want our guys to be recognized. We want our guys to win awards. That's natural. And so, like, I think we want to be focused on, hey, let's try to make second team all rookie. And even that's going to be hard because, like, there's a lot of guys who've been playing a lot of minutes, and it's going to be hard to catch them. Like, you have, like, Asar Thompson and Derek Lively and Scoot Henderson and Cam Whitmore and a lot of other players. But that's who I think we can, like, you know, target as we need Gigi to catch those guys. And, of course, if Gigi keeps averaging, 21 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, and a block per game, all right, that's going to take care of itself. It'll be fine. But more importantly, you think about this team going into the future and how you have this guy who has incredible size, who is a decent rebounder, who's become an amazing shooter somehow. I mean, the three-point shot is one of the things that unlocks everything else that he does. And then if he's getting steals and blocks, I mean, that's almost a bonus, I guess. And like he even can play, he's playing some power forward, and he even played some small ball 5 against the Rockets. But like, Gigi's been so good, and just seeing his joy, seeing him once again doing the walk-off interview, he's talking to Stephanie Reddy. It's been a little bit funny, you know, unintentionally thanking Doc Rivers and the Bucks and all that. And, you know, it was delightful to see. And of course, you know, anytime you win because Gigi Jackson and Ziaire Williams carry you to the finish line, that's pretty special. Now, if we want to look at stats over the past 5 games, like I like doing with Gigi Jackson, why don't we do that for our guy, Vince Williams Jr., a.k.a. The Machine, a.k.a. Bug, a.k.a. V Nasty. Vince, like I said, career high, 12 rebounds in this game. He now has the same number of double-doubles this season as Jaren Jackson Jr. That's 3 double-doubles for each of them. Also, his career high in rebounds is the same as Jaren's, 12. That's a regular season record. Jaren outdid that in the postseason last year against the Lakers. But last 5 games now for Vince Williams Jr. I mean, you can stretch this like the last 20 games and come up with some pretty amazing numbers. But specifically last 5 games where he's put together all these assists, he's averaging 13.8 points per game, 7.8 assists per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, and 2.2 steals per game. Here's your random cherry-picked stat of the day. The only other player in Grizzlies franchise history to hit those marks over a 5-game span, DeLon Wright, who did it in a very similar tank season. Not that I want to take anything away from Vince Williams Jr.'s performances, but Vince, the way he's racking up those assists, how he's become the primary playmaker. Like in this one, I mean, we're shorthanded on guards. Like Jordan Goodwin started. Scottie Pippen Jr. was injured. By the way, the team sent out an announcement after the game that he's going to miss at least 3 weeks after an MRI showed a bulging disc in his back. So the Grizzlies' bad run of injury luck continues. Now to their two-way guys. So Scottie Pippen Jr. is out for a while. Derrick Rose, of course, did not play in this game. He just, you know, he doesn't play back-to-backs. I mean, I saw some complaints about like the Grizzlies' handling of this game and it being a national TV game. Like Jaren, I mean, in my estimation, again, having no inside information, I'm not doubting the validity of the Grizzlies' injury reports, but I think most people would assume Jaren was rested this game. Conchar was rested, just to not play the second night of a back-to-back. Derrick Rose, you could say rested, but let's be honest. Derrick Rose should never play the second night of a back-to-back. Derrick Rose should play, I think, maximum once per week. I don't know if we can pull that off, but I feel like once per week is good for Derrick. And then like Luke Kennard, you'd say he's rested. Although, we don't talk about it much. I'm pretty sure Luke Kennard should never play any back-to-backs either. It doesn't seem like his body can handle it. But because of all these guys not being available, whether they're truly injured or not, you're extremely shorthanded in your backcourt rotation, and Vince is asked to do a ton, and Vince has stepped up. Coming into February, honestly, coming into last week, Vince had one career game with 7 or more assists. He's now done it 5 straight times. 5 straight times. In those 5 games, he's had at least 12 points, 7 assists, and a steal. So that's 5 straight games, at least 12 points, 7 assists, and a steal. You know where I'm going. That matches the longest career streaks of Ja Morant and Mike Bibby, and the only player in Grizzlies franchise history to have more consecutive games with at least 12.7 assists and a steal was Mike Conley. Mike Conley had 7 straight games doing that in 2019. So whatever Vince is asked to do, he does it. And his playmaking in this game was so good. And of course, he's guarding Dame Lillard. And he's trying to guard Giannis. I mean, no one did a good job of guarding Giannis. Santi Aldama, I feel like, was asked to do it the most. He was awful at it. I mean, what's Santi supposed to do? Like, Lamar Stevens is being asked to guard Giannis. But you continually now, for months, we put Vince Williams Jr. on the other team's best guy. Just, hey, go guard their best player. And he does it, and he's also delivering on the offensive end. Yes, his three-point shooting, it is dipped. Don't look now, but it's dipped. He's not making threes anymore. In January, he was knocking them down at a great 46% clip. So far in February, it's fallen off a cliff. He's under 30%, but honestly, it doesn't matter because he does everything else. He gets assists. Finally, those steal numbers are up. Like earlier when he broke through and got a lot of playing time, I was saying, I feel like the steal numbers are actually going to come up. He's not getting as many steals as you would think. They are coming up now. We're seeing Vince do a little bit of everything. And of course, Vince is going to play on Friday night in the Rising Stars game. I hope he has a great time representing the Grizzlies at All-Star Weekend. Now, Santi Aldama. All right, Santi has been struggling with his three-point shot of late. Well, guess what? Interestingly, he only took 1 three-pointer in this game. He did, however, keep spreading the ball around. He now has 3 straight games with 4 or more assists. I keep talking about his assists on these shows, but the career high 7, a lot of them were very good playmaking opportunities. And frankly, this team shares the ball really, really well. They did not share the ball very, very well earlier in the season, but the last 2 months, you've seen them really increase those assist percentages. Some of it is they're shooting a better three-point percentage. They shot a great three-point percentage in this game. They made 50% of their threes, but guess what? They didn't take very many threes. The Grizzlies tied their season low with 26 three-point attempts. That means they are now 10-9 on the season when they attempt 35 or fewer three-pointers. 9-27 when they take more than 35 three-pointers. Is there any correlation there? I continue to think so, but I am not certain. But anyways, Santi with a great game. Also had another very impressive blocked shot in this one. So Santi, played 33 minutes, only took 4 field goal attempts, but scored 7 points, 7 assists, got the block, got 3 rebounds. And then Jordan Goodwin started his first game as a Grizzly, and we saw a lot of nice flashes from him. Had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He is a defensive first guard. He's that kind of genre of player that I really enjoy. Offense is his challenge, much like Lamar Stevens. Offense is Lamar Stevens' challenge, but Jordan Goodwin played huge minutes for the Grizzlies, and with the injury to Scottie Pippen Jr., perhaps he will continue playing big minutes for the Grizzlies. I don't think getting him on another 10-day contract. Jordan also tied Ziaire for the team lead in deflections. Jordan Goodwin had 7 deflections also. Another thing to kind of specify how maybe ridiculous this win was for the Grizzlies, the 9 guys available for the Grizz, the 9 players who played, 5 of them started this season on 2-way deals or as 10-day contracts. So you had a lot of guys who you weren't anticipating maybe even being a part of the Grizzlies team playing minutes for the Grizzlies. You even had a lineup in the second quarter that was Jordan Goodwin, Lamar Stevens, Yuta Watanabe, and Trey Jemison. They were all on the court at the same time with Ziaire Williams. That is 10-day guy, your latest 2-way guy, 2 players you got in a trade who maybe you didn't even really want. I mean, maybe they did target Yuta and Lamar Stevens, but I don't think any of us assumed those 5 guys would play together. Even on trade deadline day, after we found out we acquired Lamar Stevens and Yuta Watanabe, none of us thought, hey, maybe in a game next week, all of those guys will be on the court at the same time, you know, with Trey Jemison and Jordan Goodwin and Ziaire, and it'll be in the first half. And oh, by the way, we're going to win that basketball game. Anyways, there's a little bit more to talk about from this game, including the play of Trey Jemison and Lamar Stevens. We will get to that right after this short break. Hey there, listeners. I'm here to tell you again about Underdog Fantasy. I've been using Underdog Fantasy this entire NBA season to make watching the games even more exciting. You can pick highers and lowers based on stat projections to win cash. You can play best ball tournaments. You can play head-to-head daily fantasy against your friends. You can do it all at Underdog Fantasy. And if you sign up using my promo code FBBF, Underdog will match your opening deposit up to $100. So if you want to try out Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code FBBF or click the link in this episode's description. All right, a few more things to tackle from this victory over the Bucks. Trey Jemison, he started as center. He had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. But I think this game, you really saw the limitations of his game right now. Of course, he's a active big body. You saw that too. You saw his hustle, you saw his effort, but his limitations as a finisher really stuck out in this game. And unfortunately, I would say he was kind of Biombo-esque on catching some passes and completing plays. So he was just 4 out of 11 from the field. Lamar Stevens, once again, I think with a strong, solid performance. He scored 13 points and had 5 rebounds. So that is 3 straight games off the bench scoring and double figures for Lamar. Also, like I said, he was tasked with trying to slow down and guard Giannis. I mean, he didn't really do it, but hey, someone's got to have that thankless job, and Lamar did his best. He did, of course, miss those 2 big clutch free throws to make it a little bit more exciting than it needed to be at the end of the game. I think with how well he's played in the last 3 games and the fact that we can see immediately like, that guy's got that dog in him, that I think it's natural for us to say, oh, wait, is that a guy we can keep next year? Like, is that somebody we need to find a rotation spot for or a roster spot for? I think it's a great question to have. My thinking on that is, first of all, like, slow down. We can find another Lamar Stevens out there. Like, finding players as good as him, I don't think it's that hard, as long as you don't crowd up your roster with other lesser players. So it's definitely not a priority for the Grizzlies to find a roster spot for him next year. But, like, the flip side or a counter argument is finding guys like Lamar, who I think have that dog in them, and guys who are good rebounders for their position. I think that is a particular need and something of importance for the Grizzlies to find when they fill out their roster. When they fill out their roster for next year, when you build around Jaren and also around Desmond and Ja, you need to find those guys who can be connective pieces, who are good at rebounding, who are good at defending, and I think Lamar has shown that he can do that. So while you're not going to make it a priority to carve out a roster spot for him, I do think when you're building your roster next season, if you're looking for a 13th, 14th, or 15th man, Lamar could definitely be in your mind as someone who can fill that role, just to be an end-of-the-bench guy that fills in nicely or slots nicely next to your best players. Jacob Gilyard played in this game. He did not score. He did have 5 assists. Every one of his minutes I thought was crucial because they were so shorthanded. You know, you couldn't have Jordan Goodwin play the whole game, and Gilyard stepped up, made some big plays. Also, if you saw the photo, he might have been the MVP of the bench celebration after G.G. Jackson's go-ahead 3 from the corner. But this game for Gilyard, according to Basketball Reference, this was the 48th game this year where he's been active. So if that's correct, that means he only has 2 games left to play on the main roster. So I don't know if that means they move on from him and they try to sign somebody else to a 2-way spot. With the injury to Scottie Pippen Jr., does that make it more likely that they just have to release him after he plays 2 more games? I don't know. That's something to monitor. I have no idea what actually will occur there. The final guy who played for the Grizzlies is Yuta Watanabe. He played 11 minutes, did not score, had 1 assist and 1 rebound. And wrapping up the show, first of all, I need to post a correction for last episode. I made an error that's been tearing me up inside. I said in the Rockets game that Dillon Brooks tied his career high with 9 rebounds. That's wrong. Dillon Brooks actually had 10 rebounds against the Grizzlies, setting a new career high, and that meant that Dillon had his first ever double-double. I'm very sad I got that wrong last episode. I figured you guys would want to make sure I had the corrected information there. And looking ahead, the Grizzlies, of course, get to soak in this victory for the next week because there's no basketball games. The next Grizzlies game is next Friday. It's a home game against the Clippers. If you are in Middle Tennessee, come down to Noble's Beer Hall. We're going to ride this 2-game win streak into a watch party. So come out, hang out with other Grizzlies fans next Friday. That's February 23rd, Friday night, 7 p.m., Grizzlies against the Clippers. We're going to call it a listener appreciation party. I'm going to be giving away a lot of Grizzlies prizes. We only have 2 more watch parties this regular season, so make plans to be there if you can. Again, Friday night, February 23rd. It's the Grizzlies' first game after the All-Star break. Come hang out with me and other Grizzlies fans at Noble's Beer Hall. And with that, I think I will close down the episode. I hope you all have a wonderful All-Star break. If you want to get bonus content, if you want to join the listener community, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you don't do that already. All right. Talk to you soon. Go Grizz.